Welcome to today's episode of Confessions of a Cleaning Business Owner. And today's title is, Should I Offer a Cup of Tea to the Cleaner? I'm Louise here with Diane, and we're going to be talking from a client's point of view. What can a client do to make a cleaner's life easier and ultimately their clean better? What are those little expectations that actually cleaners probably have of clients? Do we need them to know it? So I guess this is a little bit different. This is really a podcast that we would love our customers and clients to listen to go, let's set the ground rules a little bit.
Also, if you're listening and we missed something that you would love your clients to do, then let us know. But we've kind of come up with a bit of a list, haven't we?
Yeah, and if you're a client and you do more than this or go above and beyond, again, share. Let's find out. But the big one that often, I'm going to be slightly sexist here, husbands say, you always clean before the cleaners come, right? They're complaining about their wives. Talk to me about this, Diane. Should they clean before the cleaners come?
I often sort of actually cover this in the sales with the client. When we're doing the quote, is I say, look, you're not allowed to clean before we come. However, if you tidy up, we will get more done. So it's not about cleaning before the cleaners come, but absolutely clear the decks, clean up, put things away. And actually, I think it's one of the benefits of having a cleaner is that it makes you clear up, put things away once a week, once a fortnight, however often the cleaner's coming. And we will get more done if the surfaces are clear. So absolutely tidy up, but don't clean before the cleaners come.
So can I give you my two bugbears about this? One, children's toys, particularly bath toys. Give us a bucket to throw them into.
Oh, bath toys, yeah.
And then number two, the thing that I find quite challenging. So a lot of customers, we're not expected to do the washing up, but they leave, a drainer full of clean, dried, crockery and cutlery and things. Now we have to clean the draining board underneath that. And when I'm going, we don't know where all the stuff goes. I don't know which cupboards to put it in. So am I meant to take it off there, pile it all up next to it, which is the world's most pointless task because you've still got to put it away. And yet I've got to spend 5 minutes piling this up nicely just so I can clean underneath it. And I can't not clean underneath it.
Yeah. Or looking in cupboards thinking, I think it goes in there, but I might annoy them if I put it in the wrong cupboard. And then they'll be looking for it and messaging me later. Where did you put the whatever it was that's gone? Yeah, because you've got to clean it. So yeah, we don't mind the a few pots from breakfast in the sink. We'll wash those up and put them away for you. But yeah, I've walked into houses where the whole of their Sunday dinner, the pots had not been washed. They didn't have a dishwasher and they were all over the kitchen surfaces. So I had two choices. I either don't clean the kitchen at all or I wash up. And I washed up. But it was a Monday client and it happened every single week.
Which is fine. Again, I don't really mind washing up. I used to do like an HMO, house multiple
wash up. Yeah.
It took me an hour every time just to wash up. I was like, guys, you need to have less plates. If you had less plates, you wouldn't have this problem. But then I'm being paid for an hour, which means that if I quoted you to clean the house and I quoted it at 3 hours and I've now only got 2 hours, well, something's going to take a hit. So do you want me to do that or would you be better investing in a dishwasher? But tidy up, please. Love it. Please tidy up.
Yeah, absolutely. Then the next one for me on the list is really important. Pay on time.
Yeah.
Don't make us wait for our money.
I think the reality is cleaning isn't a high profit industry. We're not sat there rolling in money. And a lot of people need this money to literally buy their food for that week, to pay the bills. This really, really matters. And even for a company like mine, and you think you're a high-end company, actually, does it matter so much? It matters so much that we now have put everyone on direct debits, which cost me 1% of my entire turnover. So 1% of every penny we make goes just to basically fund people paying.
Yeah. And we've talked on previous podcasts, haven't we, about how difficult it can be to get paid and following a process and sending messages. And we understand that our clients are busy. That's often why they need a cleaner, but the cleaner needs to get paid. So, absolutely. Pay on time is one of the first ones on my list.
Yes. And then, this is a harsh one to say to clients, isn't it? Be realistic.
Mm-hmm.
So if you've got a 4-bedroom house, we can't clean it in 2 hours. Well, we could do something, but you are not going to get a proper clean in 2 hours unless you're living alone and only going in 1 or 2 rooms,
Yeah. But even then, a 4-bed house, generally the downstairs rooms are rather large, and it can still take more than the 2 hours. So yeah, I think be realistic, and also be realistic about how clean and or tidy your household really is. Because I've been to some quotes where they, or on the phone, I was told that we're really tidy, we keep it clean, we just want somebody to help keep on top of it. And then you go and you realise that's not the case. And I'm far too polite to say, but I am going to quote based on what I can see. Sometimes the client's like, but I thought it would only take an hour or two. And it's like, it might take an hour or two once we've got on top of it, but it needs a little bit of catching up cleans is what I used to say, a bit of a catching up first.
And if you're a client and you find yourself, there's two things I would like to say here. Find yourself saying this, the problem is you, not the cleaner. Please, could you not clean my spare room? You know, that little box room, but instead, do you mind just cleaning the oven?
Yes.
Yes, I do. They're not comparable. And then what's the other one? I'm going to hopefully say this. Could you just, we know that if it starts, it's not a little task. It's a big task.
Yeah, and it often means that you need a step ladder or something extra that's not in your normal cleaning kit. Yeah, can you just clean the fridge out? Oh, what, just after you've had your food delivery? Yeah, okay. And like you say, that's instead of doing the spare room. No, they're not comparable. Yeah.
Or do you mind doing all the windows today? No, I don't mind, but how is it going to happen? Like, could you just okay, but on that note, leave us a note. We don't mind adapting. We don't mind. We'll do what it takes to keep you happy, but tell us, leave us a note, but don't start, could you just?
Yeah, I agree. And actually, yeah, I like them to leave notes too. We actually, when we do the initial sign up, we actually agree a priority list of rooms in order that we'll clean. Most people's priorities are kitchen and bathrooms first, so they're at the top of the list. However, if you need to make a change, you can let us know and we can change it on our because we use ZenMaid, so our cleaners can see the note on ZenMaid. But actually, there's nothing wrong also with leaving us a quick note this week. Can you do this? Yeah.
Yeah, but make it realistic is the only thing we say with that. So, and if you did something like you dropped a jar of Dolmio sauce, you cleaned it up, but there might be glass, there might be sauce on the bottom of your kickboard, tell us. The more information you can give us, the better. And I think a lot of people think that as cleaners, we know what's happened in that house. We've got to go and sort of unpick it. It's like playing like Cluedo, trying to work out what happened and where we're supposed to focus our attention. So if you tell us, it makes our lives easier.
Absolutely, good communication. One of my other things for customers is tip at Christmas. It's really nice to get a tip at Christmas, whether it's going direct to the cleaners or, most of us as business owners don't take the tip. So the ones giving the really hard work, they deserve a tip at Christmas. And chockies are nice, but cash is king, isn't it?
Yes, I've got to say, who doesn't prefer the cash? And it makes it easier. I know that with my teachers, the kids' teachers at school, we just give to a fund. I'd rather give them a gift voucher. I'd rather just give cash because they can do what they like. What's a realistic tip though, Diane? How much would you expect a cleaner to give as a tip, a cash tip?
I would say that the cleaner's tip should be at least what you pay for one clean.
Really?
I would think that would be, a nice generous tip.
That is a generous tip. I've got to say, I'd probably be looking £20 per cleaner or £20. If the customer gave £20, I'd go, yeah, that's all right. I'd like more, but 20's nice. 20's really nice.
No, I think they should be more generous, and I think we're telling our customers what we'd really love them to do, and I think that the equivalent of one clean as a tip or around that would be nice.
So your minimum clean's like 3 hours and is like £100.
No, well, we do a 2-hour weekly clean as well.
Okay, fair enough. Pets.
Yeah, tell us about your pets. What do we do with them?
Yeah, and if they bark at the vacuum, do you know, there's so much about pets. I think we could do a whole podcast about pets. If your dog's going to run out the front door when we come in, please don't expect us to take any responsibility for that. That's your responsibility.
Some cats are indoor cats, aren't they? Oh, that means we can't open windows. We have to be really careful when we're bringing our equipment in. And sometimes our clients get cats after we've already done the quote and we've been going for a couple of years, and then we don't know that they've got cats, and we've shut all the bedroom doors, and the cat was in the bedroom under the bed all the time we were there. We didn't know.
Litter trays. We are not going to do your litter trays. Unfortunately, guys, we're doing everything else. in terms of cleaning, please will you do the litter trays, and please do it before we arrive, because otherwise there's nothing worse than going, what am I meant to do? Sweep it towards the litter tray? Because I can't even get it back in because there's not a dustpan and brush here. Please sort it out before we get there.
Yeah. And if you want your pets to be kept in one room, you need to tell us about that, because if we don't know, we're going to open that door and then we're going to leave the door open. We don't know if we haven't been told. So you need to let, we're happy to look after your pets while we're there, say hello to them, especially if they're friendly, lovely. We all love that. But we need to know how we need to look after them properly while we're there. And, we don't really want to let them outside because we would worry about the responsibility of getting them back in again. So don't have too high expectations as to what we will do. We're not there to walk the dog around the garden or let them out for a wee.
No, and that's the tricky thing. A lot of people will say, will you let my dog out the back yard when you're there? And it's like, no, not really, because your backyard's going to be full of mud in winter and it's going to make my job really hard. Find another solution.
So the headline question was, should you make your cleaner a cup of tea? So should you get tea and biscuits? Is that nice?
So, okay, we have a policy on this one, right? So our policy is that the cleaner can accept a cup of tea, but they can never make a cup of tea in the customer's house. Even if the customer says, oh, just help yourself to tea and biscuits, just make it. It's a no, because they did that in the past, and then my cleaners made themselves a cup of tea. The client was out. She came back and the kettle was still hot. She was like, your cleaners have just been sat there drinking tea. I was like, how do you know? She was like, well, because they washed up 2 cups, left them on the draining board, and the kettle was still hot. I was like, right, okay. But you did say they could. Well, they can't. And from then on, we just said, look, you can't not trust customers. But, how would you feel if you're a customer thinking the cleaner was sat there drinking tea on your time?
Yeah, exactly. And I think, it can lead to problems. I also think, and sorry if you're a customer listening, but when I'm doing a quote, I never accept a cup of tea because first of all, it's awkward when I'm trying to do a quote in person, but also haven't seen your kitchen yet.
And normally I'm done before that tea is cold enough to drink.
Yeah, absolutely. It just all gets a bit awkward, doesn't it? So I never accept a drink. But yeah, there's nothing wrong with accepting one, but I think you're right in terms of making yourself one is not quite right. Our team always have a bottle of water with them.
The only exception to that, I will say, is when there is someone who is restricted to a chair, an older person, then we will make them a cup of tea. And if they say have one as well, we'll put that down and we'll normally dust around the room while we're drinking it. But if they can see us there and we're not just sat there chatting, then that's the only exception.
I agree.
Okay. Talking of people restricted to chairs, and I have a lot of sympathy, and we have a lot of customers that are sometimes more housebound, and it's really lovely when they have cleaners, but we're doing a physical job and we get really quite warm and hot doing this, and you're sat there in a chair, and I get that you're not moving as much as us. Please turn the heating off. We die sometimes. Killing us.
Gradually the layers come up. You arrive in a jacket, don't you, and a cardigan maybe as well, and then you by the time you finish you're sweating in a t-shirt.
And it's spring, and the customers nipped out to the shops, and they've had the heating on for 6 months solidly. It's still on, and the sun's coming through the windows, and we're going, oh, we're melting here. This is so hard.
Yeah, you like them to shut the curtains as well, don't you?
So in the peak of summer, when it's so hot, and this is in every house, if you can keep the curtains shut when you go to work for the morning, it stops the heat coming in, and it does make a big difference. I don't want to clean in the dark. I just want in the heat of summer.
Hard to see the cobwebs if the curtains are shut and you can't see anything. But no, on a really hot day, it keeps the heat out, doesn't it? It makes a big difference. And we're never going to clean windows when the sun's beating on those windows. So please don't expect us to.
No. It's hard when you've got an end of tenancy and you've got to do the windows. And we always start off, the windows get done first thing in the morning because it's always harder in the afternoon. Talking of summer, lots of people go on holiday in summer.
Yeah, they forget to let us know, don't they?
Yes. Have you ever turned up to a clean and got there, you're knocking on the door, they're not there, and the neighbour tells you they're on holiday?
Yeah. And actually it's first of all, it's good from a planning point of view for us, but also if you're on holiday and still having the clean, it's nice to let us know, first of all, so that we know you're away, but also we can make our schedule sometimes a little bit more flexible. It helps us, doesn't it? If we know that client's on holiday, we could probably change their day that week and it wouldn't matter if we knew in advance. But I think the worst effect of the holidays is those last minute cancellations. For that holiday that you booked 6 months ago and you forgot to let the cleaner know until 2 days before, before, and then we're juggling.
And I think it's not just juggling. I think there's members of staff that, they're not going to get paid if you're not there. They may have booked into childcare just to be able to do your clean. They've got costs, they've got travel costs to get there. And they turn up and they're now not getting paid for that day. And you just think, that's really quite selfish sometimes. So yeah, please do that.
Plenty of advance notice, absolutely. And don't cancel on the day. It's not just holidays, but generally, please try and avoid cancelling on the day of the clean for the same reasons, because, we've got members of staff that need the work, solo cleaner, booked childcare, whatever it is that we've done to make sure we can fit you in, may have even turned other work away in order to fit your clean in. And then for whatever reason, you've had to cancel on the day. I understand, though, that sometimes you're not well in the morning and you need to cancel, and we'll try and be flexible, but normally it's full charge. So there's another good reason not to cancel on the day.
Yep. Okay. Now for the ones that we are going in, and there's a lot of customers, it's actually reduced how many are not there since lockdown, but they have alarms. A lot of customers have alarms, and there are really fancy alarm systems now that they can unset remotely. Okay, we're not even going to talk about Ring doorbells and all the cameras that are going on and watching us, but they can unset them remotely. Please, if you have one and you are insisting on having the alarm set and you're going to unset it remotely, please be available to unset it remotely. If you're a teacher and you can't unset it in the middle of class, then don't have the alarm off. You know what time we're coming. You know it's us. It's so frustrating. And we're like, do we clean with the alarm going off, or do we walk out? What are we supposed to do? And you can't get hold of the customer because
we're wondering if the police are going to turn up any second. And yeah, it's very stressful. And also they're sometimes incredibly loud and we actually can't stay in the house. And if you've got pets, then they're stressed as well as us. And yeah, it's just a bit of a nightmare when alarms go off unexpectedly. And we've had them where they've changed the alarm code. We had the code, they've changed it and just forgotten to let us know. So please try and look after your cleaners when it comes to alarms, so we've not got extra stress.
And this is holidays as well. So sometimes they'll leave the alarm off most of the time. They haven't told us they're going on holiday, but they set the alarm. We'll turn up. Obviously, we set the alarm off. Nobody benefits from this. Please just remember your cleaners will set that alarm off.
Definitely. And the other thing around that is an access is give us a key or have a lockbox. You have to trust your cleaners, and it makes our lives so much easier if we have a key, and therefore, you're not waiting for us to arrive at a specific time and we've been stuck in traffic or we've overrun at the previous clean. It just makes everybody's lives easier if we've got a key.
Yeah. Or if you don't want us to always hold the key, have a key box. And then if for any reason you fall out with your cleaner, they'll put it back in the key box, and then you've got full control. Take it out, do what you want. It only has to be in there on the day of the cleaner. But do not, I can tell you, do you want to know where people hide their keys, right? You'd think it's under the doormat. It's not. It's always under the blue bin. Well, in Trafford, it's under the blue bin. Or welly. Plant pot or wellies. It's in that plant pot, just inside the rim, not normally underneath it because no one wants to lift it up. Wellies is the other one. Honestly, I could break into half the houses around here.
Yeah, it's actually safer to give your cleaner a key than to leave one under a plant pot.
Yes, because everybody else knows anyway. So keys. Now, breakages. This is always an interesting one, and it's heartbreaking from the cleaner's point of view, because cleaners, we don't set out to break anything. But inevitably, we are handling almost every item in the house. Some of them are delicate. Some of them may have been on their way out anyway. Can we be really honest? It probably wasn't the cleaner's fault. You've had it 20 years. Things break. And, a lot of the time the cleaners gets blamed for it. We accept that is a little part of the job. But one of the heartbreaking things for us is when there's really sentimental, irreplaceable things, often not worth a lot of money. So what I would really like from my clients is to have a good look around their house. And if there is that thing that really would be the end of the world if it was to be damaged, well, it's probably going to be done by the cleaner. And it could be avoided if you just put it in a cupboard where we are not handling it each and every time and taking that risk.
Yeah, we had a client that, going back quite a few years, that had some incredibly priceless ornaments, and they told us about them in advance. And what they used to do was before we came, they would take them all off the shelves and they put them on the bed. in their main bedroom, and we didn't have to make the bed or touch the bed, so we cleaned around the bed and everything, and that worked perfectly. And it was their suggestion, but it was very much, well, they're not replaceable. I think they've got these ornaments on their travels and would never be able to get them again. And for me, it was great because I didn't have the worry that I was having to dust them or lift them or anything like that. So yeah, it worked really well.
Yeah, and do you know what's really nice now? There's actually been a change in trends. A lot of people have really, in terms of ornaments, they have things that decorate the room. So often they're not that expensive. They're from Next, so they're not cheap and things, but they are replaceable. Whereas a few years ago, even 20, 30 years ago, it was real collectibles and ornaments that mattered. So there's been a real trend change in what goes into houses. I think, is there any more before we...
I thought of one more that I would like clients to do. Recommend us. Recommend us to other great people like you.
Yes, because if you've got cleaners, guaranteed your friends need cleaners as well. That is the best thing you can do for your cleaner. Recommend them.
Yeah, and also if your cleaner's great, write a review, get yourself on Google and give them a review. Don't give them a bad one, but give them a nice review, yeah? Because it really helps small local businesses, and it can cause a lot of damage to get bad reviews, but not enough people actually take the time out to say what a great job their cleaner's doing. So I'd like you to see you do that too. And that's it from me.
If you're into social media, recommend them. People all the time are asking on Facebook, does anyone know a cleaner? Yeah, recommend. Be the perfect customer. So I guarantee you will get a better clean the more recommendations you give, and it costs perfect. So hopefully if you're a client, hopefully that's some good tips, what to expect from a cleaner, nothing unreasonable. We would love you to get in contact if we've missed some, or if you think we're being a little unreasonable there. Thank you very, very much, and look forward to seeing you on the next podcast.